Hi, my name's Christian. This is my wife Megan, and we are the Carters.
So we've been together how many years?
We were married for 3 years in September 2023.
Yeah. How we met was I was actually a waitress.
She served me a baked potato.
I did serve
It
you
was a
a baked
magnificent baked potato. And then from that moment on, I knew she had to be mine.
That's a lie.
That's not the story. I just thought it'd be fun to say.
This is Nora.
This is Nora.
I remember Josh and Amy came back and we had dinner with them.
Yep.
And we were kind of like, what's going on? What brought you back here? And I just remember Josh and Amy basically telling us, like, long story short, is they wanted to raise a family in Jacksonville. And they didn't want to raise a family all the way out there. And they just wanted to be with people that could help, like, build their family and build them up, as they are going through this, like, season of their life. So let's fast forward a couple months.
Well, because that was September, so then we go a little bit in the future, and obviously this is, COVID happens, and so everybody, fast forward and analyze, everything stops. Megan is teaching from home. I am teaching middle school from home. God bless her soul. I'm working at the bank at the time, so we're still open but operating under the weirdest working circumstances I've ever had. And then fast forward in the middle of COVID, we get pregnant with Nora. And so we are dealing with that during COVID and trying to get all that. Pregnancy is already kind of interesting to navigate under normal circumstances, let alone like when you have to wear a mask to go buy the food your wife is craving. It was a bit of an interesting scenario. We've been doing virtual church pretty much the whole pandemic, and then we're breaking into the year, Rhythm is opening.
As a good friend, we followed Rhythm Church, like, online, because I was like, Josh just helped start this church, like, want to be supportive friends.
Well, this was like what? Like
it was
February,
early.
March?
Like, it was really early,
First 60 or 90 days.
Yeah. So we followed it. I followed it all on social media, and I remember waking up on a Sunday morning, and it, like, how you get notifications on Facebook, and it's like, Rhythm Church is now live. I hadn't watched any services yet, only seen, like, Instagram posts. So I, like, of course, clicked on the live. I watched the service, and it was really good. And, like, the whole time, I just kept feeling like this is where you need to be. This is where you guys need to go. And so I, like, finished the service, and then I woke Christian up, and I was like, Christian, I think next week we need to go to church. And so the next week, of course, we went, and I just remember walking into the barn, and it just, like, felt so, like,
homely.
Homely is not a good word.
I felt very at home. It was just a very friendly environment, and we never felt overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And it was just, we're always welcome.
When I first got saved at my previous church, one of the pastors, he spoke a message about how he mentioned this sermon about how God puts these little specks in your life and these specks in your heart, and it's these specks that as you continue to walk closer to God and closer to God's plan, these specks get brighter and brighter until they're a reality. Fast forward, so Josh has this message, and he's talking about how when God asked the people to march around Jericho, right, the walls, and I remember him saying this, like, when they asked him, and they continued to step in rhythm. And after the message, of course, we went up to Josh, and was like, man, that was such a great message, like, you killed it. And that's when Josh told me, at least, like, one day he hopes to have a church and to call it Rhythm. And I feel like that's one of those speck moments where, God placed a vision in his heart, and then as Josh and Amy and all of these people have continued to walk closer and closer to the plan that God has for them, that speck has gotten bigger and bigger, and now we're here.
It's been cool to know that it wasn't just like a one-off, I think this name sounds cool. It's been something in Josh's heart for almost a decade. I think that shows that it's God and not just Josh being like, this is a trendy, cool thing to call a church. You want to think of not just everybody that you have influenced, but everybody that they will influence and so on and so forth. That makes a ripple effect of like faith. Mm-hmm. And I think the most important thing to be connected to the legacy of Rhythm, or really any church, obviously if you feel called to worship or to just provide your time really in any way by working with kids or welcoming people or
even taking the trash out.
Yeah, just anything that can help the operation of the church. That's obviously great. I think for the legacy of the church, though, the most important thing to commit is your heart and the belief that the church not necessarily will succeed, but will accomplish what God has planned for it. And you be willing to commit yourself to helping the church accomplish that goal through whatever way you feel called to do that.
I think that would be cool to one day look back and it's like, man, we were in the foundation pieces.
The other thing that I think I'm really excited about is like to see all the future like aunts and uncles for Nora, right? Like all of our friends are like pouring into Nora, and just to see like all of the little friendships grow, like, I think that part is one of the biggest things that I'm excited about for the future of Rhythm, is to see where all of our friendships and where our kids all like grow together and build life together.
The family grows.
Yeah.